do 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Abe from geneticsdontcount with Anas from geneticsdontcount. And in today's video, we got a treat for you. We're going to be doing a program review submitted by our boy Josh Cortez from the UNT Powerlifting team and from New School Strength. So Josh, thanks so much for submitting your program. If you have a program that either you're creating or that you're working on that you'd like us to review, send it to our Gmail or DM us on Instagram, and both of those links will be down below. We'll be happy to go over with you. Of course, we'll respect you and we won't give you too much negative feedback, but we will give you honest feedback. Also, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel while you're down there. Like the video if you like it. If you don't like it, give us a comment down below of what you'd like to see in the future, and we'll be happy to take that criticism. In today's video, Josh. In today's video,
here.
Josh is here.
There.
In today's video, Anas is going to be taking the lead. Anas has been coaching powerlifting for about 3 years, and he's been coaching himself for a little over 4 years. He's gotten lifters to the national stage. He's gotten people to improve their total by hundreds of pounds over the course of their duration with Anas, so you can kind of say he's a big deal. He's got all the knowledge.
I do?
Yeah, you do.
Thanks.
In today's video also, we're going to be going over 4 major criteria for what makes a program, in our opinion, good. That's going to be specificity, overload, fatigue management, and
individual differences.
Taking individual differences into account. So Josh's program is broken up into 3 blocks. This is a program that's meant to get his lifters ready for collegiate nationals in...
For him, yeah.
When is it? He's getting ready for collegiate nationals
he's
too.
Getting ready for collegiate nationals.
So this is about how long? The duration of the program?
It's a 12-week program cut into 3 blocks of 4 weeks.
So what are the 3 blocks?
The first block is a volume block.
Okay.
The second block is a strength block, and the third block is the peak into the meet.
Okay, so 4 weeks each, 12 weeks total.
4 weeks, 12 weeks total.
We're going to keep in mind that the goal of a program should be to improve your overall total as a powerlifter.
Right. So based off that...
Specificity.
You're right.
So we talked about the 4 criteria. When we say specificity, we mean specifically training yourself to improve your total. So within the squat, bench, and deadlift, making sure that you're doing what you need to do to get stronger in those 3 movements. When we say overload, giving yourself enough volume and enough work each week in order to stimulate stimulus.
It's more work than what you did before, and the frequency could be in the volume, overloading frequency, overloading intensity too.
Mm.
So you can just
So you're getting stronger essentially, just adapting to more stimulus.
So you're lifting more weight for more reps,
Mm-hmm.
more volume.
And then while you're going through that progressive overload, you should also be taking your fatigue management into account by making sure that you're not pushing yourself too far off that edge, but pushing yourself as close to the edge as you possibly can, and hopefully making that edge grow further and further out than where you're at now. The 4th principle would be individual differences, because everybody is different. Mm-hmm. So this is something that's going to be just kind of like peppered in terms of like what we know about Josh, but also good key practices to keep in mind, because individual differences do take a huge account into what makes a program work for you and not necessarily for somebody else.
In the first block, he sets it up as
6 days a week.
6 days a week with frequency of 2 squat days, 2 bench days, and 1 deadlift day. And 1 accessory, 1 bodybuilding accessory day. Okay, he has the first squat day is a competition squat day, and the second squat day is just variation. It's a tempo squat.
Okay.
And on the bench, he has the first bench day is the competition bench, and the second day is just a spotter press.
Okay.
Which is a good accessory, a
spotter
good
press?
variation, yeah.
You're a fan of the spotter press.
Mm-hmm. So how specific is it to powerlifting? He puts in a lot of
Volume.
focus on the accessories and not enough on the main movements, which is not bad. I mean, since you're running a volume block, you want your volume to be specific to your competition movements. You don't want to. It's not a bodybuilding program. It's a powerlifting program, so you want it to be. You want to put most of your focus towards the competition movements and less on your accessories. He keeps switching the accessories every week instead of keeping them the same and building volume on them. He keeps switching the exercises every week instead of just building more momentum with those movements. And one thing, you want to keep your accessories the same so you can experiment with them and see what works and what doesn't. But I mean, when you keep changing them every week, you're not going to be able to tell what actually helps and what doesn't. Overload, we can't really tell. We can't really tell if he overloads or not, since we don't have his old program. But we can see him. He's doing more work overall throughout the weeks. So we'll just assume he's overloading. And fatigue management, you can see he spaces out the squat days. He has like 3 days in between. He has a couple 3 days between.
Oh, my battery's gonna die.
Yeah, 3 days between his bench and the deadlift. He only has one deadlift day. So fatigue management is really good. If anything, it's too good, since you're recovering too
well.
Yeah, too well. You're not stressing yourself enough. I would say fatigue management, you should probably increase your fatigue, increase your volume, so you can get more adaptation. Actually, he put an extra deadlift day.
Oh,
which
my
is,
boy. He heard you. He heard you.
Which is, I think it's a little bit too late to put the extra deadlift day. If anything, you want to have it in the volume block, where you can, because if you're doing 2 deadlift days in the strength block,
yeah,
you're doing more volume.
And so it's kind of contradictory to where you're actually giving yourself more work in the strength block as opposed to doing it in the volume block, where you could be able to, yeah. Oh, okay.
But since
really?
he ended the volume block with sets of 4, and going to the strength block, he thought, well, okay, well, since I did sets of 4,
you gotta go lower.
Yeah, I can't really go higher. But I mean, you can actually do that. You don't have to keep going down in reps.
Yeah.
You can have couple sets of 3 and pull more volume at the end, like 3 sets of 5. So you don't have to be restricted by just sets of 3, because 8 weeks out, you don't want to really be doing sets of 3. That's a little bit too far out. You're not doing enough volume 8 weeks out. You want to cut your volume very close to the 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out. That's when the volume starts.
Yeah.
You start reducing volume.
That could be something to take into account with your individual difference as well, like your body type and your weight and your gender and maybe other types of ways you recover. But yeah, generally you don't want to be doing like RPE 9 singles or doubles or triples 8 weeks out, because you're already reaching that ceiling of fatigue management. You can't really manage that much and push past that ceiling.
Right. So
So how does he rate overall amongst the 4 criteria: specificity, overload, fatigue management, and individual difference?
the second block is actually, I like it a little bit better, since it's a lot more specific, since he has 2 deadlift days. He doesn't have the bodybuilding day, so he replaced the bodybuilding day with a deadlift day, which is really good.
Yeah. So what about fatigue management, I guess? I mean, he's doing 6 days a week on all of these, and I think I know he works and he goes to school and everything. He is progressing, just anecdotally knowing the guy. So it seems like he's doing a pretty good job of managing fatigue in some way.
It's set up really, really nicely. It has, the first day is squat, second day is bench, third day is deadlift, then it goes again, squat, bench, deadlift.
Yeah.
But first day is like main squat, main bench, main deadlift, then squat variation, bench variation, deadlift variation.
So he's not like switching it up and changing it each week and then making it completely different to where he's not able to recover. And on that point, it's set up to where right now he's squatting in the beginning of the week and then benching towards the middle.
It's just squat, bench, deadlift, squat, bench, deadlift.
Which is a traditional way of doing it, and I think a really effective way, because like you mentioned, the window for a deadlift to recover from generally is longer. So you would take that rest day that you would have between the bench and the squat as a recovery time, whereas for squat, you're benching and not really incorporating too much of the same drivers in the squat as you are with the bench. So that time is an adequate amount of time to recover for most people, as long as there's not any sort of variation with the accessories that would incorporate the same drivers. So I think on that point he's doing a really good job with managing fatigue, because he's laying it out to give himself enough time to recover from each lift until he's doing the next one.
Yeah, it's a little bit better, but I would say having probably an extra bench day would be beneficial.
Or maybe just adding the bench variation at the end of one of the squat days.
Yeah, like maybe you can
or the deadlift day.
Because I mean, you can bench 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be, you can do that.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah, generally you can
as
do
long
that.
as you're not like a 500-pound bench. Is he a 500-pound bencher?
No, he's like.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know yet.
We're not gonna talk about that
Because this video may come out in a week. We don't know what's gonna happen.
We don't know.
So overall strength block, how do you rate it?
I'd say the fatigue management is. He's managing fatigue. There's not enough fatigue, basically. There's not. It's too.
There's not enough overload.
He's not doing enough work.
Yeah.
This far out, it's 8 weeks out, and you're already starting to cut volume.
Yeah.
So I would keep the volume high on this block. Maybe keeping the reps a little bit higher. You don't have to be restricted by sets of 3 just because you did like we said ended with a sets of 4 in your last block. Yeah. You can have triples and with like sets of 5 as back downs.
You can even I would argue even up to sets of 6.
Yeah, you can.
As long as
you can do it. You can do it a million ways.
As long as the intensity is increasing.
You just want to make sure that you're not under training because you're not doing enough work this far out. I would just this far out you want to be doing the most amount of work you can recover from.
Yeah, pushing yourself. Yeah.
So you can see it. He starts with like 8 sets of 3. Then second week is 6 sets of 3. Then 5 sets of 3. So he's already cutting volume.
Yeah.
And the last week is 4 doubles, which is really.
It's kind of low in terms of volume, overall volume. Because I mean,
that's a low stress for like 5 weeks out. The main thing is taking smaller jumps between each week instead of taking 5% jumps each week.
Is he?
Yeah, he's taking. He's starting with 75% and ending with 90%. You can start with like 80% and ending with 90%.
Because if he ends 90% now and continues to take 5% jumps, then he's going to be in 4 weeks at 120% or 110%. So now we move into the peak block.
The peak block. First, we actually took a look at it before he actually
finished it.
Yeah, he did some adjustments to it. It's actually a lot more specific than the first 2 blocks. It's more specific on squats, but it's less specific on bench, which makes no sense because
bench is just weaker lift.
Right. Not only that, because you want to do more bench work, more direct bench work, more specific bench work. Since the recovery is a lot faster, you don't want to just have variations to cut the intensity down. So yeah.
What are you saying? On specificity?
It's more specific on the squats.
So more specific on
the squats, less specific on the bench, and it's about the same from the strength block.
So you think on specificity he should be doing more bench still?
More bench.
That's a common thing.
It's a common thing. Yeah. The bench is you're not doing nearly enough work on bench. We don't know how much volume he's doing this far out. We'll just assume he's doing like enough volume this far out. Let's say like 4 back downs, I guess.
So specificity, he should be adding more bench.
Bench.
Squat and deadlift are okay. And then in terms of the fatigue management, we already mentioned that because of that lack of bench and the
lack of volume, he's actually cube recovered. And
he's not pushing himself hard enough.
He's not doing enough work. He can do a lot more.
And he took away an extra day, so he has 1 more extra day to recover.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say do more work this far out. You don't have to restrict your work this far out.
Yeah.
You don't need 4 weeks to recover. You just need basically like a couple 4 days. Like the last couple weeks is when volume starts going down. Volume doesn't start going down 4 weeks out. It goes down a little bit. It's going to be a little bit lower than your volume and strength block, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be
you shouldn't think about it. Yeah, you shouldn't think about it like, okay, I'm only going to be doing like like 2 doubles and triples or singles. Yeah.
So overall fatigue management is lacking. Specificity is okay. Overload.
It's not there.
We can't really tell really. But I mean, he's overloading on intensity since you can see him, and
he's increasing the percentages.
Right. That's a good thing. That's how the peak should be. You should be increasing intensity going into the meet. So overload, I guess, it's okay. Overload is fine.
And then in terms of individual differences, because we know he's kind of lacking in the bench, not necessarily he's a bad bencher, he's a good bencher, but because it's not his strongest lift compared to his others, he could be doing more.
Looking at the progression, how fast it's been progressing, I don't think he's too happy with the progression.
Yeah.
So if it's not progressing and you're recovering really well.
He's not taking his individual difference into account.
You're not taking the SRA into account. You're not taking your recovery time into account. So you can be doing a lot more work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The last thing is he splits up the peak into the first 2 weeks, or he calls them the peak.
Yeah.
And week 3 and 4, or 2 weeks out, 1 week out. Well, 1 week out and 2 weeks out. He labels it as a deload into the meat.
Deload into the meat?
Yeah. So, I mean, the deload into the meat should be...
half a week?
Just, yeah, basically the last week.
Like, I mean, I wouldn't even say the whole week. I would say like maybe 2-3 days out would be an average amount of time for us. Like I said, not taking into account like what a larger lifter or maybe somebody who's squatting 1,000 pounds would take into account.
He's a small guy too. Remember, he was deadlifting here.
He's not small.
Okay, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy, but in terms of the amount of weight that he's pushing, like even for us, like the overall intensity is not high enough to warrant. It's still recording.
Is it recording? Oh.
Yeah, it's not high enough to warrant a 1 to 2 week even deload. Where if you're squatting 1,000 pounds,
yeah, you're not Ray Williams.
You're not Ray Williams. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. You're not Ray Williams, but
yeah, you don't need that long to recover.
Yeah, so you're under training the last 2 weeks basically.
So you're gonna be feeling really sluggish at the meet.
I've been there before. I've done that.
You're gonna forget how to squat, bench, and deadlift if you're if you're cutting your volume this far out. The taper should be designed to have your preparedness the highest, fatigue the lowest, and fitness the highest. So
when you say that in layman's terms, basically getting you as properly prepared for the meet as you can be.
As you can be, right?
Yeah.
And you're not gonna be prepared if your fitness is gonna be high. If you do the movements.
You're not doing spoto press and not doing like pause squats necessarily.
Right. So keeping the fitness high is you want to keep the frequency high, or doing the movements more often is keeps your fitness high, and the fatigue would be managing fatigue, having your fatigue low. Lowering your fatigue would be dictated by your volume, like how much work you're doing.
Yeah.
So you want to balance your fitness and fatigue. So you'll be prepared. You'll be the most prepared for your meet.
Yeah. Okay.
A good way to keep your fitness high is doing what we do. That's just
something that we find is beneficial.
A pro tip. Just do that. Pro tip. Go ahead and do what's called a priming day.
Basically, it's like 50% of your intensity the day before.
The day before, you just do the main movements. You just do a couple of singles with like 65% of your squat.
Some small.
Yeah, something between 60 and 70% for singles. Double, like 2 singles on each. Maybe one single on deadlifts. From anywhere from 60 to 70%.
Because people think that they're afraid to do anything before the meet because they think that they're going to completely be so exhausted. Right. But a 65% squat for someone,
it's nothing. It's just a warm up.
Exactly. It's basically just like maybe you're lifting something heavy at your home and you need to put it on top of the shelf. Like you're not gonna break if you touch any weight, but the day before the meet, especially if you're a lighter lifter.
Yeah. If anything, it will increase your fitness and it might actually help with your fatigue as well. Sitting down is not more helpful than
builds up lactic acid and
doing the movements actually can help you with dissipating some fatigue. So
that's just a recommendation.
Yeah. Last thing is I would recommend doing your openers. I guess if you want to do your openers, do them 5 days out. 4 days out, I would do some bench volume. 3 days out, maybe do some more, like one more squat day and bench. You can get away with having one deadlift day. I would do the main movements for a couple of singles, anywhere from 60 to 70%. That will keep your fitness high, fatigue low. You'll be as prepared as possible for the meet.
There you go. So overall, I think it's a good program.
It's a good program.
It has definitely areas of work, but most programs do. There's no such thing as a perfect program, and a lot of these recommendations that we offer are our opinions. So it may not be 100% foolproof, but it definitely has a lot of empirical data that backs it up. I mean, a lot of lifters that we train follow these same principles, and you've been training a lot longer than I have as well, so you have a lot of proof that this way of programming works. If you have any quarrels or if you have any issues with the way that we've prescribed this program, please leave a comment down below because we'd love to discuss it as well. As I mentioned, while you're down there, subscribe to the channel. Have I said that already? I don't think I have. I think I did in the beginning. I'll say it again. Subscribe to the channel. Buy a shirt from our bigcartel.com, geneticsdontcount.bigcartel.com website. Buy a shirt. We got some great shirts. And we have some new shirts coming out as well. If you've watched this long into the video, you deserve to know that we're going to be coming out with a Fridge Strong shirt pretty soon as well. So don't forget when that comes out to cop that. And the only way to know we're going to have it is by subscribing to our Instagram and by subscribing to our YouTube channel. So, any closing comments to the YouTube guys and girls?
No, I guess.
Send us your programs.
Yeah, send us your stuff.
If you want us to review it.
Josh, eat some more, buddy.
All right.